Hello and welcome to the PMQ Live Update. I'm your host, Brian Hernandez. This is the update for today, Thursday, September 10th. And once again, I have a good friend and U.S. Pizza team member, Leah Scurto from out in Windsor, California. Today we have kind of a somber subject, something that's important to everybody currently right now. We wanted to get it out as soon as possible. It's the natural disaster preparedness. And I know Leah has had to move a couple times. Hopefully, we might get some other U.S. Pizza team members jumping in here, just kind of out in California or North Carolina or Texas. Anybody who has to deal with any kind of natural disaster. So, and I know there's up in Oregon, they're having. I think it was Oregon. I think they're having the wildfires as well. I can't keep track here.
Oh yeah,
it's. I can't keep track of so many states, but I do know that I have a lot of friends out in California, and I hope they're all safe. But I wanted to talk today with Leah about, how she manages this and what you could maybe learn from that as far as wherever you're at, just kind of preparing for any kind of natural disaster, something that you don't see coming. But I did want to let people know you can ask your questions here in the comment section and we'll get to them live. Don't do it on my personal Facebook because those questions don't come through. I'll maybe pull that up so I can keep track of that too. But if you have questions about how Leah's handled her situation, feel free to ask, and she'll answer if she can, and if she won't, she'll let you know. So, Leah, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, and then from there, we'll just kind of get into the meat of the subject about how to stay safe.
Cool. What's up, Brian? I'm Leah Scurto. I own PizzaLeah in Windsor, California. We are in Northern California in Sonoma County, which is about an hour north of San Francisco. And that's who I am.
Oh, that's who you are, and that's what you do. So PizzaLeah, Windsor, north of San Francisco. So I've been seeing a lot of coverage and just some of the crazy pictures that are coming out of California right now. I mean, the whole state is almost orange, and I'm sure it's pretty toxic, breathing. But I did want to ask here. I'm just trying to show that, but they'll get to it eventually. Our first question here is definitely, how are you? How is your family, and how are your employees and your business? I mean, I think didn't you have to evacuate a few weeks ago at one of the northern fires, correct?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So I'm doing all right now. It's still, it's still super smoky. I'm sitting in my car out in the back of the restaurant right now, but my car is covered in ash. We haven't seen the sun in 2 days. It's,
no.
I mean, we're just covered. We're socked in with smoke, and it's kind of brutal, but so there was 2 really big fires up here. Well, actually there was 3 kind of really big fires, all started by lightning, dry lightning strikes. But the one here in Sonoma County was extremely close to my house. It was even closer to my mom's house. So they got evacuated first, my mom and my stepdad, and ended up coming over to our house. And then at a certain point, one night, we all got evacuated again from my house. So we all had to leave again. And then the restaurant was on evacuation warning. And so, I had 3 employees who were evacuated, and then pretty much almost every other employee was on evacuation warning at one point or another the last couple of weeks. And so it was pretty intense, and it was kind of hour by hour, really, like what we're doing. Are we staying open? Are we closing? Who's coming to work? Who can't come to work? But
well, and I did want to ask you about that because there's a whole lot of shuffling of everybody's families and personal lives. Did this affect your business at all either? Obviously, most people, probably your employees, were evacuated. But I mean, was all your property untouched? I mean, is everything still standing?
Everything's still standing. My mom's house was just like filled, ash, burnt everything. There was fire retardant on their property from the airdrops. It was just a big mess to clean up. And actually, cleanup can sometimes be worse than the packing to evacuate.
Okay.
like you come home, it's like, oh God, it's everything's a disaster because you jumped out so fast.
When I'm seeing that you actually had a lot of help there too, and Lars Smith's sending. Apparently, he's there supporting you right there. We love
up,
Lars. But I do like, and this post on your pizzeria's website is that you did have friends and family that took you in. The only stipulation was you bring some pizzas for. I think we all need this right now. Just a little bit of 5-month slices. It makes everybody smile. There's a lot of craziness right now. So, but I mean that we're going to talk about that later. A little about community helping each other. But go ahead, Leah. I'm sorry.
The hard part right now too is with the evacuations. With the COVID situation, in the past, it was like we had multiple options. Last year, I was evacuated for 10 straight days. And I ended up going down to this peninsula down just south of San Francisco. And we stayed at a friend's house for like 5 nights, kind of bounced around to a couple different friends' houses. But this time, it's like with the COVID, you got to figure out something else. It made evacuating really difficult because where do you go and whose bubble can you enter, and are you it was tough. And luckily I had a friend who has a separate office building, and they were like, dude, throw the air mattress, you guys can have a whole building to yourself, there's a bathroom. But there were more people sleeping in their cars this time around, and sleeping at the fairgrounds, and sleeping in hotels, because there was just nowhere. They couldn't go to friends' houses like they could in the past.
Well, embarrassingly enough, that's not a factor that I thought of. It's hard to juggle so many terrible things happening right now. I would have never thought of that.
And not that you don't, but some people don't care about the COVID, because there's plenty of people staying at other people's houses and whatnot. And I get that. But as an essential worker, right, being exposed to... It's one thing if you're kind of at home, not going out much, and you're going over to another friend's house who's been mostly at home and not going out much, versus me trying to find somewhere to go, or my employees trying to find somewhere to go. And we're exposed to hundreds of people every day. So, we're the ones that are potentially most at risk for COVID. And then we got to evacuate and find somewhere to go that'll take us in, or take that risk if they want to take us in,
I'm doing my part.
Looks good.
Thank you. Well, we'll see about trying to get him out to the team. But embarrassing. I never thought about this when we were talking about this. I was more focused on this particular thread at the time. I didn't think about compounding it also with the pandemic going on. Again, since I'm not dealing with those things, I'm not thinking about those options. This is exactly why I wanted to talk with you. So let's kind of jump into some of these questions. So, I mean, honestly, how should you prepare your business for natural disasters? I mean, what can you do? Being in California, you kind of expect this every year. You don't know the tenacity of it, but how do you prepare?
We now have a fire season, the same way other states have their tornado season, their hurricane season. California and Oregon and Washington at this point too, it's like we have a fire season, and we have a go bag packed at home. And
do you? Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. We have like a basic go bag packed, and I kind of did the same thing for the restaurant. Like I have a restaurant go bag that's like at this point packed for the season, and it's got all my information I need. So if I need to do payroll, if we get evacuated or something happens, and my employees still need to get paid, right?
Absolutely.
So I have things like I have all my insurance information, and I have my payroll information, and everything I would need to kind of like shut down this or shut down that or get people paid. Luckily most of that stuff is online these days, but I have, we talked about this, we have computer backups.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. It's part of the go bag.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that, I mean, if for some terrible reason you can't get to the store in time to grab that physical go bag, I mean, do you suggest people having these offsite backups? Something now,
Yeah,
granted, at their
absolutely.
home, it might still be in the same danger. I don't know, but maybe find somebody in another state that can back this up, be it through your POS or something. I don't know. What do you
Well,
guys do there? I'm literally asking.
yeah, I mean, well, luckily, most of the POS stuff and even my payroll stuff, like most of that stuff is online, and I can access it from anywhere.
Mhm.
So, what's up, Jeremy? So there. I mean, that's the good news. A lot of these payroll companies, for me, having I use ADP, and having an actual payroll company is great for situations like this because everything's online and I can access it from anywhere, from my computer, from my laptop, all that sort of stuff. Versus trying to do payroll yourself and then you actually have physical paper. But I still have checks and stuff, physical checks, and that's all packed in the go bag in case I need them. If, who knows? Do I need, So
Well, that's
online, but online, everything you can have that you can get online is key to be ready, because there's things, just because you get evacuated and your business is shut down doesn't mean that your landlord doesn't want rent, or that your employees don't need to be paid, or that your insurance bills don't need to be paid, and all of the stuff that you pay as a business owner. Like,
yeah.
People don't care that you're evacuated and your business is shut down right now.
Now, I mean, well, it's almost like even with a pandemic, there might be a little bit of forgiveness because they're kind of used to doing that currently, but there's only so many hits they can take too.
They still want their money.
Exactly. They're another business and they still need to get paid. So, well, I mean, I like the idea of having a go bag. I almost put that in the questions that I sent you a couple times, but I felt maybe that's too conspiracy theory type. Have a go bag. I honestly, in where I live right now, tornadoes come through, and I've had to evacuate. Luckily enough, I bought a house with a shelter, so I have.
I'm sitting in my car, but my car is still like not unpacked from.
Okay.
Completely unpacked from the evacuation last week.
Well, okay, so you've been evacuated and you have since been allowed to go back, correct? They have your stretch of fires under control, and then
it actually flared back up 2 days ago.
Oh no! Did it?
They had issued. It's the same fire, so they contain the fire, right? But they basically build like bulldozer lines around the fire, and they have it contained, and then they just let the fire burn out. So it's still actively burning. It's just not a threat, so to speak. But the other day, 2 days ago, it was like 111 that got up here. I know, it's nuts. And the high winds picked up, and that flared the fire back up, and the fire jumped the containment lines and started threatening houses again. So
I mean, they're doing everything.
It's cool. It's not until it's totally out.
Well, yeah, and I mean, they're doing everything they can, just like starting these containment fires. And unfortunately, I've been watching some of the videos, and I've seen some of the ones. It's insane. And we were talking about, and I had to talk with a lot of people before I spread any kind of fake news, but that one of the recent ones was actually started by a gender reveal party. Everybody, we're very proud that you're pregnant and you're having a child. Don't incorporate explosives into your gender reveals anymore. There have been way too many tragic stories aside from this. Just don't put any pyrotechnics, okay? And you kind of told me about this one. I don't know if this might be the one you were talking about. Is that what was it? They
somebody said it's a girl.
It's a girl. So a little humor on a serious subject aside, not trying to make light of anybody's thing. Just practice some common sense, everybody, the best you can, guys, because it's not only your lives and livelihoods, it's everybody else's in the immediate area. So go bags, you're ready to go. Should have some offsite backups if you can, and like you said, having a payroll company, most of that it's updated every time you send something in, so it's stored somewhere else. But have something physical that you can grab. I was going to ask, one of the questions I was going to ask was, what should you take and what should you leave? I don't know that there's anything I shouldn't ask. What should you leave? I mean, you're obviously not going to say, help me get this 2,000-pound mixer out of my thing. We got to save the mixer. Is there anything that you think somebody might try to save that is just not worth it?
I don't know. That's hard to say. I mean, it just depends if you have a big truck or not.
Well, that's, but
know?
okay.
I don't.
No,
I
that's
don't.
true.
So it's like, what am I gonna say? I'll grab the like employee files, the file cabinet, and that's about it. You know, the money.
Okay.
I guess I need the money. Although we're like 99% credit card these days, especially with the COVID. So there's never that much money to grab anyways.
Well, I mean, would you recommend also having like some fire safes and stuff like that, or something that's gonna, if you're in an area that has wildfire, something that's gonna survive that? Obviously, hurricanes is different. A flood will just take it away. But would you recommend having on-site kind of backups as well?
Fire safe would be, if you got a fire safe, that'd be killer. You know, 100% if you can get your hands on one of those. Why not have all your important files in there? That way, if you can't take them with you, they're secure and safe. Absolutely. Okay. Fire safe's a great idea. It's around here.
Okay. 100%. Well, I mean, and again, that's the terrible, I don't want to say the terrible thing, but the thing is that this has to be kind of tailored for each person in their individual regions. We have members in North Carolina that yearly get hit by hurricanes, and you know, our pizza team members down in Texas, hurricanes again and flooding. So you have to tailor these things specifically to where you're at. But I mean, any kind of, I would say, not even duplicates of the important files, almost triplicates. You want to have something that's offsite, something that you can have in a go bag, and then something that maybe could possibly just be in a fire safe or something that's safe like that. But I mean, it doesn't hurt. Everybody scoffs at in triplicate. It's the joke of that's too much work, but it sounds like that's actually as much work as you should do.
Or just
if you have a business,
like getting them backed up on computers where that's in the cloud or on something zip drive that you can access anywhere. Because like I know a lot of people like going to be in North Carolina and in Texas. If you're getting hit, your business and your home are going to be in danger usually. So having a backup at home, like a hard copy of paper backup at home, when both the restaurant and my house are evacuated or under threat, it doesn't really make a difference because I may not be able to get to either.
That's exactly where I was going. So I mean, I would say if you're going to do anything in duplicate, do offsite. The cloud, now that we have it, that's perfect. Put it up there, because then you don't have to worry about it. Take as much physical, records as you can. But so I mean, how do you manage this? I mean, as far as like when you have to, I don't want to say let employees go. You're obviously not going to make them work. I'm not saying that you would, but it's what does somebody do as far do employees in these areas understand that sometimes they might be interrupted, like their wage might be interrupted by something that you can't particularly or control? Or do you?
So here's the thing. I put it out to my employees. I said, I'm going to stay open because, and I know we're going to get to this, but no matter what, I wanted to stay open to be able to feed other evacuees and feed firefighters. So I threw it out to my employees. I said, it's 100% up to you if you want to come to work or not. If you don't feel safe, if you are evacuated and going somewhere else, like that's fine. No problems. And in my head, I was thinking, depending upon, and it didn't happen, but I was debating whether do I pay my employees for lost time or not?
Yeah.
And I think if there's anything major, it's hard. I can't, it's hard to say whether you do that or not. But in terms of like my staff, so a lot of them were like, you know what? There's nothing else for me to do right now. Like, one of my other employees lives down the road from me, and she was evacuated, and she's like, what am I going to do? Sit in my sister's house and twiddle my thumbs? Yeah. She's like, I'll just come to work. I was like, great, come to work. And then another person was like, his parents, he's a minor, and his parents said that they would feel more comfortable with him at home and with them. And I was like, that's okay. That's fine too.
Right.
Somebody else, another one of my employees, didn't want to come because of the smoke. And she felt wanted to stay at home and stay indoors and shelter in place because the smoke was so bad. And so everybody needed to make their own decisions. And I made the decision to stay open. and that was my decision. And if I was going to do it all by myself, maybe I would have ended up closing. But if a couple people wanted work, and a couple people who weren't evacuated, they live a little bit further north in Santa Rosa, a couple of my cooks, they were like, this isn't necessarily directly affecting us, but if I don't come to work, then I don't pay my rent. So I still want to come to work. So I'm like, great, I'm going to stay open. We're going to sell pizza. We're going to give away pizza. Come to work. You'll still get your hours if you want. If you don't want to come to work, then I understand. But we made it work. A lot of people just wanted to come, and they had nothing else to do. Being evacuated is boring, especially right now during COVID.
Well, it's like a double stamp on that one. But I mean, it sounds like what you were doing, you wanted to stay open as long as possible, which is another question that I really had. Is like, do you? I don't know if I even made a graphic for this one, but it's like, do you be proactive about shutting down early, or do you stick it out until they come and drag you out? Now, what I like about you really know how to dance.
Yeah,
come on, guys, that was a good one. That was a good one. What I like about you, anyway. But what I like about what you did is that you stayed open as long as possible, but you gave the employees the option of coming in or not. Don't put anybody else in danger.
We had a plan at the shop too, because there was 4 solid days where we were under evacuation warning, which means we were maybe had to evacuate at any given moment at the restaurant. And so we were kind of it was like a constant battle, like keep everything as clean as possible. Keep everything so we could shut down in 5 minutes was kind of the goal for like a couple days straight. Like, don't pull out anything extra than you need. Don't make any more food than you need. I was ordering bare bones in case we had to shut down. I didn't want to have too much food. I didn't want to have too much food prepped. And there was one day where we sold out. We ended up giving like 50 pizzas away to evacuees and firefighters, and we sold out a little early and ran out of food. But that was because I wasn't going to over prep, because if we needed to shut doors down and close everything up every night, I was like, don't refill the line at night. Leave everything in the walk-in, because it's safe. It's everything stays cooler and better in the walk-in, as opposed to sitting in the line for the night. So
not to mention, well, I was going to say it could survive the fire, but obviously you're not gonna pull out your cheese from a burnt up building out of your walk-in. But it's
right.
But what I like what you're saying is that just be prepared. Don't prep as much as far as like ordering product, actually prepping it. You do as much as you can. I mean, dude, when you run out, you're out. You have to just tell people that I'm sorry, we're out today.
Yeah, or we sold out, and everybody understands something like that. We just straight up told people, hey, listen, we're keeping inventory really tight, and we fed a lot of firefighters today, and so we're closing down. We're again, we're out of food. We're done.
Yeah, and again, in that region, everybody gets that. It's something that you guys have had to live with every year. Now that you have a season for it. I was going to say, Mike sent something to my personal Facebook, which I told him not to, but he did anyway. So, but I'm glad he came here. He follows instructions really well. I like how you were talking about just kind of some of the preparation that you can do beforehand. When you see it coming, you maybe even have this plan in place. You have your fire season ordering chart that you can be ready to implement at a moment's notice. You kind of keep an eye on where it's coming and how close it's getting, but then as soon as it crosses that threshold, you can put in right there that this is how we're going to order now, and this is the message we'll give our customers. So,
and we were actually fairly busy because so many people, nobody was going grocery shopping, because they don't know if they're going to have to get evacuated, and then even if their house is fine, you get evacuated for a week, all your groceries are shot. A lot of times the power gets shut off as well when the evacuations and the fires happen. So there were so many people out there that were packed and ready to go and didn't want to go grocery shopping, so they didn't waste the food, and so they needed to eat out that whole week. And so people were stoked that we were open and they could come get a pizza, because they didn't want to cook and they didn't want to shop. And it was it actually ended up being a pretty busy week for us. And there was one morning where I opened the shop. The morning I actually got evacuated, opened the shop late. I was here prepping and got the there's a Nixle, it's an alert system that we get text messages on our phone. And I was like, oh, okay, I got the message. My house is under evacuation. So I ran, I live about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the store. So I jammed home, made sure I got everything else that I needed. I'd already had my car pretty much packed up, but I wanted to make sure that my wife and my mom were, didn't need any help and everybody could get out. And so they all got out, and then I was like, I'm just going to go back to work.
Yeah.
What else? Again, it's like,
well,
what else are you going to do sometimes?
Exactly. Sometimes you don't know what to do. It's like, I'm going to do what I do every day. But I mean, it's definitely make sure that you're not over ordering. But I mean, you're saying like people understand. I wanted to ask, and I don't even know necessarily want to put it out there, but I mean, during these times, should people maybe reduce some of their prices because it is a hardship time? Or, I mean, this is kind of it's a touchy subject, and not to say that what's your opinion?
I didn't reduce any of my prices.
But you didn't gouge them, obviously.
Well, no, but I also gave away a bunch of shit for free.
Nice.
So I guess in a way I did reduce my prices down to zero. But I was anybody the first day it happened. I said anybody who was evacuated, if you needed a meal, come by and we'll get you fed. And I started to do that, and people started coming by and taking me up on the offer. And then I started getting customers coming in and wanting to donate money so that they could help feed other people as well. So where I was prepared to just like start giving food away one day, I ended up being able to give food away for the entire week because other people were helping out to pay for some of that. So it was kind of great. The way the community rallied was pretty awesome. Well,
yeah, and again, you guys are all in the same boat, so it would make sense that everybody wants to. And I was trying to type something, but I couldn't do it quick enough. But the selflessness is going to create more goodwill in the community. So if you're saying, look, you need something, come here, and we'll get you fed, and that's where you're saying that everybody started donating after that. It's just that's kind of that organic goodwill that gets generated from something like this, something from a local pizzeria or a restaurant giving back to their community in times of need.
And I had one lady, and I told her, I said, I don't want to take any more money right now because I haven't gotten rid of because I was relying on a couple of different people to drive pizzas out to the fairgrounds where the firefighters are stationed and stuff like that. And there was one day where I didn't have anybody to do the deliveries, and I didn't want to take the money if I didn't have anybody to do the deliveries. Yeah, there's Andrew. He works at the.
We'll get to him, but yeah.
He works at the real estate office next door to us. But she was like, you know what? Like, take the money, even if you do it tomorrow or the next day, because she said there's people in the community that want to help and don't have the means. She said, I don't have a commercial kitchen. I don't have the means to be able to cook in bulk. And she's like, even if you pay, I pay you to do this, it makes me feel better. It's a way that I can help without actually doing anything, because I can't, I don't have the means to do it. So she was like, take my money right now. And if you do it she was serious. Pat was her name. She was serious. She was like, I'm going to come down and give you a lesson on marketing and fundraising. But I was like, that's not why I was doing it. I wasn't trying to raise funds. I was just trying to help out other people that were in the same boat as me.
Well, and that's what I was saying is just that first gesture. Yeah, that first gesture of goodwill, it becomes a pay it forward thing people are good at their core. Most people are good at their core, especially if you're in one community and you're in the same boat, in danger from the same thing. Of course, you want to help each other out. So, I guess, it's, however you want to manage your sales and business at that point, just know that just giving back to the community those are the people who fund you or keep you going. So obviously that you want to keep them happy as well. So, but they will respond to your generosity is what
Yeah.
they lead by example almost is what it is. Lead by example as a pizzeria.
What was awesome too is I had, at one point I had a firefighter come in off duty, and he showed me, he's like, hey, I wanted to come in and show you these pictures. And they were out, there's an area out here called Armstrong Woods. And it's, it's got, redwood trees, the ancient redwood trees. And he showed me this picture, and it was 5 firefighters kind of all lined up in a row. And the redwood tree was wider than 5 firefighters. And he said, I wanted to come in and show you this photo because we had just finished cutting a line around this tree to save this tree. And a new shift came and showed up, and they brought us like 5 of your pizzas that had been dropped off at fairgrounds. And so they showed up, and he was like, so we ate right after we saved this redwood tree, we ate your pizza, like sitting underneath the redwood tree that we saved. And I was like, oh, that is like such a badass story.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
thank you so much for coming in.
Well, and that's, I mean, and that's, it's not even like you're going to put pictures up of it or memorialize it in your shop. It's just that heartwarming thing that that you did something good and people appreciate it. And hopefully they took that appreciation and passed it forward. So also Michael P. Lamarca and Albert Takasaki, I always mispronounce his name. They say hello. Let me just make sure real quick. Takasaki, yeah. Yeah, we know him from our San Diego competitions. They're commenting on my personal Facebook. I got to stop posting this stuff there. All right. So, I mean, I was really this kind of leads into, what can you do before and after for your community? And the next thing I was going to ask was, about your feeding the first responders, which is this gentleman, I can't remember his name right now, you were talking about.
Andrew.
I like this. Yeah, I like this post because, he just, this is just a stack of pizzas you're taking out to first responders from maybe a week ago, something like that.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. And so the thing is that there's the fairgrounds in Santa Rosa, the Sonoma County Fairgrounds, and a lot of the firefighters are kind of staged over there. It wasn't the official staging ground, but it was kind of an unofficial area where the firefighters were coming in and hanging out after shift change. And then not only that, but like the hotels around here, there was a hotel right across the freeway from us that was, this parking lot was full of fire trucks. So at any of the times around here, you can just go find firefighters everywhere because they're here. And firefighters from out of state, firefighters from all over. It was wild. So he grabbed that day he took 25 pies and he dropped 10 of them off at a hotel right here. And then he took another 15 down to the fairgrounds. And then another day, my mom picked up 20 pizzas and took them. And she was so stoked. She was like, I never knew pizza delivery could be so fun.
It kind of is. It really kind of is. Not always, but it's nice to get out there, listen to your music and see new people sometimes. But that's nice though.
People, they're so stoked when you show up with pizza, like the firefighters. I mean, really anybody's stoked when you show up with pizza, but
true.
We figured out, Andrew had figured out for me what time shift change was out there. And so we were aiming to catch the guys that were just coming back in. And they were, they'd been out, they do like something like 36-hour shifts. What's up, Emily? They do 36-hour shifts at a time or more. And then, and maybe they're eating sack lunches or power bars sort of thing. And so when they get back in and they can just chow down on a ton of pizza, they're stoked.
Well, would you recommend coordinating with the first responders, be it fire departments, just to try to figure out? Oh, I like it. You had that answer ready to go. I like that. Well, tell me why.
So, here's the thing. This fire specifically, the main fire center was in Calistoga, which is about an hour-long drive. And that's because the lightning that caused this fire was here in Sonoma County and also in Napa County. So there were 2 fire areas burning at the same time from the same like event.
Right.
So originally I tried coordinating to feed, and they were like, well, you have to go to Calistoga and you got to talk to the chain of command. And I'm like, I'm not going to Calistoga. I see firefighters camped out in parking lots all over the place here. So we just started doing it ourselves, I'm like,
just kind of show up, guerrilla.
Yeah, like guerrilla feeding.
Guerrilla delivery.
Guerrilla delivery. Because I'm like, there's no point. And I'm sure maybe you're supposed to and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, why am I going to try to go through the chain of command at a place an hour away when I got a parking lot full of firefighters across the freeway from me who could use some food? So we just started finding the firefighters and dropping the food off for them.
Well, that's what I was just meaning is like the people local there who are there. It's like, hey, when does the next batch come in? When's the shift change happen? Versus, I mean, and for them to ask you to make a drive all the way up there, it could be handled in a phone call. It's like, oh yeah, this is when we have our shift changes. But I mean, okay.
But they
maybe
listen. There were other people. There's a whole thing. There's a lot of people up here that feed the firefighters when there's events like this, and. Right. Guy Fieri has he's always out there barbecuing for the first responders. And so he was out in Calistoga, and there's other organizations and agencies that were like set up specifically to do this. But that doesn't mean that the firefighters around here didn't want and need some meals and food. Right. Because they weren't always driving back to the main chain of command area. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like that guerrilla pizza delivery sounds like a pretty good plan. Yeah, and like you said, if somebody comes out and throws a pizza at you, you're probably not going to complain too much.
Right.
All right. Well, so I wanted to say, I guess one
of the last questions is going to be, what do you guys do before and after? And what has PizzaLeah done, your pizzeria, just personally, what have you guys done? But I think you've actually answered most of those questions. So what I want to do here is, and give everybody else the last couple minutes to ask some questions here. We're getting a lot of people. Daniel Perea. We miss you, Daniel. We miss you, buddy.
What's up, Daniel?
But what have you learned this year that maybe you didn't already know? Now, like you said, you've been through these numerous times, and we've all watched it for the last however many years, but they get exponentially worse. Every year we say it's the worst year ever. What have you learned this year that maybe you didn't know next year that you would maybe tell somebody to kind of prepare for in the years to come, or if they have any other natural disaster, be it flooding or hurricane, tornadoes, anything like that?
I don't know that I learned anything new, but it's just be prepared. Have that go bag packed, and have a go bag for the restaurant, have a go bag for your house. Don't hesitate. Evacuate early. Leave early. If for no other reason, if a majority of people, when you're asked to evacuate, I guess one of the things I sort of learned was that a lot of times they want to evacuate an area, not even necessarily because it's under immediate threat, but because they want you out of there so that you're not in the way.
Okay. But is it also if they wait to be asked to evacuate, is that almost too late?
No.
If they haven't thought about it before?
No. I mean, if you're asked to evacuate, you should go as quick as you can, but usually you get a warning beforehand.
Okay.
Hey, this area is under warning, and that's pack when you're under warning, not when you're already evacuated, not when they're like, hey, it's time to go now. Pack when you're under warning and leave. Don't be, like I said, they want you out of the way so that you're not, they can have access to the roads, and they're not worried about civilians running around.
Yeah.
They want you out of there so that they can access places that they need to access and not be concerned about you and your well-being. If their focus go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say that makes sense, is to make their job easier to actually help you. I get it. This is why, it's like stand back, nothing to see here type thing. but this
Right.
is for your safety. Now, I mean, a lot of times, and I see this a lot of times in the areas that are hit by hurricanes, is people just don't evacuate. And even in the past few years, they have said, "Look, if you stay, we're not going to be able to come rescue you."
Right.
Do you get a lot of that up there? And if somebody wants to do that, what would you say to them?
Yeah, we get a lot of that, and everybody's got to make their own decision for themselves. And if but it's true, if you choose to not evacuate, stay out of the way, and don't expect them to come help you if you've made the decision to not go.
Okay.
And the bummer is that a lot of these first responders, they probably still will help you, but
right, and they do. They always do.
Right,
which is
now
great.
you're the asshole taking away. No, I'm serious. Like, you're the asshole taking away the first responders from solving the problem for everyone else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's I've had that same conversation. I've pretty much used the same verbiage: is don't be that asshole. You do what you can. I like how you said, stay out of the way. But I mean, again, it is a personal choice. You've made that decision, so don't necessarily expect them to come. But what I really love about our first responders and even National Guard and anybody in the military and stuff like that is that they don't care. They will come to you regardless. But it's almost kind of a terrible safety net, because a lot of times they get put in harm's way, and sometimes they pay the ultimate price, unfortunately. So don't be that person that puts somebody else in harm's way. I think it's probably the better way to do it.
If you want to stay and try to save your own property, and and some people just don't have anywhere to go, and I get that too.
Yeah.
Where else are they going to go? What else are they going to do? I understand all of that, but if you choose to stay, get out of the way.
Choose to stay, get out of the way. I think that kind of sums it up. So we don't wish any ill on any person. We understand that your homes, that's who you are, and sometimes that's all you have, and you want to protect it with your life. But in the end, sometimes your life is always worth more than material objects. So if there's any one last message that you want to put out to people out there in California right now, because I know it's kind of moved south, and I want to talk with Mark Todd, the cheese dude, next week. And he's just below you when you had to evacuate, so he was on the other side of the fire line. And so do you have anything to talk about? We have several U.S. Pizza team members out there, not to mention other people on the World Pizza Champs and just pizzerias in general. What can you tell business owners out there to do? Just the last word of advice: make it upbeat and positive, because I'm really tired. I'm gonna go watch kitten videos in a second. But
you mean in disaster stuff? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean just like the best tip. That's something that you learn is just like, even if it's just like, stay positive. Come on, Leah, you got something. Give me something.
I don't. Everybody be nice to each other. That's it. All I got. That's all I got right now. I like respect people, respect others' choices, be nice to each other, don't be an asshole.
And that actually spans further than these natural disasters too. I mean, that's just kind of world wisdom right there. I like that, and we need it right now. Respect each other and don't be assholes. I mean, there's two things. If we could just put that on the Statue of Liberty, we'd be fine, right? So
yeah, well.
But so all right, well, I'm very happy that you guys are safe, and I'm trying to keep in touch with as many of my other California pizza team members right now. But stay safe and keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like that if you just naturally put it out there to try to help somebody, the rest of the community is going to rally around you, because you're all in the same boat, in the same situation. So all right, if there are no other questions, guys, you can further reach me at brian@pmq.com, and I can ask Leah, or where can they reach you, Leah?
PizzaLeah707 @gmail.
Oh, that's a straight up Gmail account. Nice.
Oh, you know what? I like it like that. I like it's easier. It's easier to do. It's easier to deal with. Gmail in general.
That's true, but this is out in the universe now, so you might be getting a lot of crazy folk. Honestly, I don't get too many crazy folk. They're pizza folk, and we're all crazy. So I'm just gonna chuck this up into the I'll put it up in the comments. So anybody who has any questions about how Leah's handled her situations of having to evacuate and what she's doing to help the community, you can reach out to her. You can always reach out to me, and I can ask her as well. But we definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in and all your comments. We want to see you guys next time, but everybody be safe. Just remember that we're all in this crazy boat together, regardless of what situation we're dealing with, be it a pandemic, hurricane, fire, or whatever. Respect your neighbor. Be courteous. Don't be an asshole. I think that's the most curse words we've used in one show today. So the FCC, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's okay. It's not terrible. I've heard him say worse on TV. So
There you go.
But guys, thank you so much for everybody's attention, and be safe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Leah.